Hello, Oracle Database World. This is Justin, and in this Oracle Database YouTube video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do condition testing in a PLSQL program. Now, what is condition testing? Well, condition testing is a way to control the flow of a program on certain decisions. Okay. Now, it's a way to to have a program make a decision. Okay, based on certain criteria. Now, you can sort of think of this like a flow chart, right? Like a classical flow chart. If this equals that, then do this. However, if this equals that, do that. Okay. Every programming language out there that I work with anyway, C, Java, Shell Script, and Perl, all have a way of of doing condition testing. Okay, and they all those languages use the if statement to do condition testing. There's also a case statement, but I don't address that specific condition testing statement in this video. Now, the if statement is pretty self-explanatory, just like it suggests. It's saying if this happens, then do this. There's also a then statement we'll talk about. If this happens, then do that. Okay, so that's basically what we're dealing with. We're also going to deal with an elif, okay, and an else, which I'll talk about. But before we get deeper into condition testing in PLSQL, let's back up and talk about what PLSQL is. PLSQL stands for Procedural Language / Structured Query Language. The PL part of PLSQL is Oracle proprietary. It's specific to an Oracle database. The SQL part of PLSQL is Structured Query Language, and that is an industry standard. It's an industry standard language that's used to communicate and modify data in a database that's in a RDBMS product, that being a relational database management system software product. Okay, so what Oracle has done when they added a PL extension to SQL, collectively PLSQL is Oracle specific, but when Oracle added a PL extension to SQL, what they did was they gave SQL the ability to do procedural things. Okay, programming language, or high-level programming language anyway, is able to do. Okay, if statements like we're condition testing, like if statements like we're going to talk about here, pausing like the execution of a program, doing various loops, functions, things of that nature. Okay, so think of PLSQL as the programming language of the Oracle database. So, that said, let's talk about how to implement condition testing with if statements in PLSQL. Okay, we set our DOS environment variable Oracle SID to finance. Well, actually, before we do that, I am going to call Notepad up and create an empty file. Okay, we're going to create our program, and I'll explain what I'm doing in a second here. And we'll call it condition.sql. Okay, it's an SQL script, even though it's going to have PLSQL code as well. So we'll have the SQL extension. Okay, so we're going to write our program. The first thing we need to do is we need to set a few SQL plus settings, okay, parameters. We do that with the set command. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say set server, just like if I was in the SQL plus command line interface. Set server output on. So that's set server output on. Set verify off, and I'll explain these. Okay, so these are the two SQL plus parameters we're going to set. Set server output on. We set that because our PLSQL command is going to spit out output, so we need to turn that on. Set verify off. Okay, that has to do with the variables we're going to use, and I'll explain that. I'll show you how that works towards the end, so I'll come back to that. Okay, next we're going to put in the following. Except v underscore guess. Now, a variable you can name whatever you want, but v underscore is the standard I've seen for PLSQL. Prompt, please enter a number from 1 to 10. Make this longer. Okay. Okay, and basically what we're doing here is the except command in SQL plus. Remember, we're not in PLSQL yet. We're still in SQL plus. the accept command in SQL Plus is what allows the user, is what prompts the user for input. So it's a prompt. And whatever the user enters is going to be assigned to this variable. So this variable is going to hold the content of this, the variable's value is going to be whatever the user enters at this prompt. Okay, and the prompt command, I know it's like a little confusing with the names, but the prompt command in SQL Plus basically just displays text, sort of like the DBMS underscore output dot put underscore line PLSQL procedure. Okay, so sort of like the same thing. Okay, but it's an SQL Plus. Now we're going to if and declare. And we're going to declare our variables. Now we're in SQL Plus because we started with the declare block. VGuess, the variable, is going to be data type number 2, and it's going to equal whatever our VGuess variable was outside the block up here. Okay? Because we're not going to define this variable in the PLSQL Plus program. It's already defined. We're going to use PLSQL Plus to evaluate it. Okay? The answer variable, which is number 2, and we're going to assign that 6. Okay, and in case you haven't guessed it yet, I'm writing a guessing game, a number guessing game, simple guessing game. Now we're going to start our begin block in PLSQL, and we're going to say if. Here's our if statement. VGuess is less than, just like math, the $answer. Okay, so we're saying, here's our first condition test in PLSQL. If the value of v underscore guess, whatever the user enters, is less than the value of the answer, 6, okay, then I want you to do dbms output dot put underscore line to low. Okay, remember, we're calling the put underscore line procedure in the dbms underscore output package. Okay, and we want the PLSQL Plus program to output to low to the SQL Plus console. Now we're going to invoke another type of if statement called else if, and that's spelled as follows: else if, and that says or basically or this decision, okay, or the guess is greater than the answer, then output. You gotta put another then there. Then output dbms underscore output dot put underscore line to high. Okay, so the if statement is a condition test that says if whatever number the user enters is less than the number 6, then I want the program to say too low. However, this is a however. However, if the guess is greater than the date that they entered is greater than the value of the answer, which is 6, then I want the program to say too high. Now we're going to put another else if, and we're going to say if v underscore guess is equal to v underscore answer. So then we're going to say, however, if whatever the user enters at the prompt is equal to v underscore answer to number 6, then I want you to output the line correct, because they got the answer that the PLSQL programmer was thinking of, which is 6. Okay, so when you're done with your if blocks, your 8 if statements, these are all blocks of code. What you want to do is you need to end. So an if begins your if block, and an end if, okay, closes your if block. And then you end your program like you always do. Okay, so let's take a look at this again. We are saying set server on, so SQL Plus knows, so Oracle knows that the PLSQL Plus program is going to output something. It's going to say something on the screen. Set verify off. We turn this because we're working with variables, and I'll show you what that means in a sec. Then we're going to prompt the user and that's what the accept command does, SQL plus command does. And we're going to store whatever the user enters in the variable v underscore guess. And what we're going to say to the user is, please enter a number from 1 to 10. So when we first start this program, first thing it's going to do is display on the screen, please enter a number from 1 to 10. That's what the prompt SQL plus statement does. Then we're going to start our PLSQL blocks. And we're going to start with declare, and we're going to declare our variables, because all variables must be declared, right? The depending on how you use them in the program, to be more precise. V underscore guess is the variable, and we know it's going to be 2 numbers at the most, and we know it's going to equal whatever it currently is set to up here. And in V answer, we're declaring that variable. It's going to be a number, 2 numbers, and it equals 6. Then we're going to start our main part of our PLSQL program, if you will, for my Java and C programmers. And we're going to say if v underscore get. Now we're going to say if the number the user entered is less than the number 6, then print out on the screen too low. However, if the number the user entered is greater than the number 6, then print too high. And still, however, if the number the user enters is equal exactly to the number 6, then print on the screen correct, and then bail out of the program. Okay? So that's basically the code walked through. So let's go ahead and let's save our program. Let's ensure that it's on disk. Let's look at the contents of our program. There's our source code. Now we're going to log into SQL Plus. Well, first we're going to set our Oracle SID to finance, ensure we're set properly. And we're going to connect to our database via SQL Plus. We do a show user to show we're connected as sysdba. And we type in select name from v $ database to ensure we're connected to the finance database. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the @ which is an SQL Plus symbol, which means the file name that comes after this, the string that comes after the @ is a file external to Oracle. It's on a file system of the OS. I want you to find the file, open it, and execute whatever's in it. Okay? And you don't have to put .SQL because .SQL is implicitly added by SQL Plus. Okay, and here comes the program. Please enter a number. So the first thing the program did was it's asking us, please enter a number from 1 to 10. We're going to type in 3 because we know 3 is less than 6. It says too low. PLSQL procedure successfully completed. So you know it was a PLSQL program. Okay. We're going to execute the program again. And it says, please enter a number from 1 to 10 again. And we're going to enter number 9. And we know 9 is greater than 6. Now the program says too high. Okay, we're going to execute the program again. It says, please enter a number from 1 to 10. Now we get lucky and we hit the number that the programmer was thinking of, 6. And it says, correct. PLSQL procedure successfully completed. So, again, we execute the program. We enter a number that's less than 6. It says too low. We execute the program. We enter a number that's greater than 6. It says too high. We execute the program, and we enter a number that's equal to 6. It says correct. Now, going back to our source code, okay, you guys are probably wondering what to set verify off is about. Here, I'll show you. We're going to comment it out, which means we're basically going to disable it and tell PLSQL Plus to ignore it by putting 2 hyphens in front of it, which is one of the ways to comment something out. Back in SQL Plus, and we're going to execute our PLSQL program again. Okay. See what it did? Some more outputs on the screen now. Okay, when you work with, every time there's variable substitution in SQL or PLSQL, Oracle is going to show you what it's doing. It's a good debugging tool, but I have no idea why it's default. It's going to say, this is what I'm referencing, and this is the value of it. But I don't want that in my program output. I want clean output. So I'm going to take away my comments now, so PLSQL does not ignore this. And I set that command, set verify off, to turn that off, so or to disable that behavior. In other words, so Oracle doesn't do that. At C:/condition. Again, too low. Again, too high. And again, correct. Okay, that's how you use if statements to do condition testing in a PLSQL program. Thank you.